Welcome to Mount SAC Athletics Central. My name is Brooke Barber.
I'm Nick Escalera.
I'm Robert DeAnda.
And today we'll be going over the March Madness Sweet 16. It's finally here. And the first game that I will be discussing is the Gonzaga versus UCLA. So this is our home team out here in California, so we're definitely rooting for their team. Both teams really have a really strong offensive style. Big guys on both sides of the court. Their power plays are really strong, low at the basket. They don't shoot quite a lot of threes and stuff. That's really not either team's strong points. But for Gonzaga, they are first in the country for field goal percentages. That is quite amazing. That's definitely going to put up a challenge for UCLA. UCLA also has a couple small players out there and stuff that can make quick baskets and quick moves. But I'm actually going to have to give this game to Gonzaga. They are definitely one to go all the way.
Yeah, I like it. Another interesting game, I think, is Notre Dame and Wichita State. Two teams, definitely very high-scoring teams. You know, Notre Dame averages about 79 points a game, but unfortunately in this March Madness, they've been held to just under 70, which is not prototypical to what their style of play is. But you know, Wichita State, not really. They're known for their defense, but there's times where their defense tends to struggle. So Notre Dame might have some time, should be able to show some of that offense. But Wichita State, on the other hand, you know, what they need to do is they need to get Ron Baker to pick up his game. You know, those first two games, you know, he struggled to score. He struggled to show any kind of production to the Shockers, and that's what led to Fred VanVleet, who scored 17 points in his last game against Kansas. In-state rival, you know, that was a big game, so he definitely stepped it up in a big situation. And actually, the governor of Kansas was actually at that game. You know, I saw a video of him. He was wearing a shirt that had both Kansas and Wichita State on it. So it's just like they showed a video of him at the game, and half the stadium was booing, half the stadium was chanting. So it was just all mixed signals. But
I wonder who's really going for it though.
Yeah, definitely.
You gotta ask him. That's a question you gotta ask him. But you know. These two teams definitely have had their struggles. You know, Wichita State playing Indiana, another good team, and then beating Kansas, good team. Notre Dame, they've had a little bit of an easier road, but they still struggled as well, like Wichita State did. You know, Notre Dame barely beat Northeastern by 4, which they should have beat them probably by double digits, but you know, stuff happens. But although I will give them credit, when they beat Butler, they only beat them by 3, but Butler is a good team. Butler has shown that they can be good in the playoffs. So I saw why they struggle there, but you know, this is a game that comes down to who can make the key shots, and I think Wichita State will be that team. You know, as long as Ron Baker gets his act together, you know, he might be able to prove the difference. So I think Wichita State might pull this out.
I do agree with that. I think Wichita's really going to go far in this tournament.
Yeah, and they're not surprising anybody anymore after like the recent years of success. Wichita State, they are a genuine, really good program. But the first game I'm going to be previewing is the Xavier-Arizona game. And Xavier, they're just a very good, fundamentally sound team. They have very balanced offensive game. No one really truly dominates their offensive points, although their Matt Strainbrook is their leading scorer with about 12 points a game. But overall, they just, like I said, they're very balanced. They don't rely on just one person to score. So those teams, they can be very scary because you'll look around the whole lineup and everybody could be in double digits and look at the score and it's already up there, you know. But Arizona, this team, they're just so stacked. They have NBA prospects at every level of their team. I mean, they're led by Stanley Johnson. He is their best NBA prospect, but he's not their only one. Arizona, they dominated their conference the entire year, and they're led by Sean Miller, which, funny enough, he actually is the former Xavier head coach. Xavier's kind of like where he made his name, and then he went to a dominant program like Arizona. But they're led by T.J. McConnell on the court. He's kind of he's their point guard. He's kind of their quarterback on the court. He sets the tempo. He has a very efficient game. He doesn't take too many bad shots. Always makes the right play. And funny enough, Brandon Ashley last year, when Arizona was defeated, as soon as Brandon Ashley got hurt, they lost their next game. So funny enough, Brandon Ashley will be playing in this game, so he might be the difference maker. But by the end of it, I do see Arizona beating Xavier by a pretty good margin. Just Arizona's just too dominant of a team.
Yeah. Even though in the Pac-12, I'm a big USC fan, you got to give it up for Arizona. That's a hell of a ball club right there.
Definitely. A very well-known program.
And secondly, I'll be taking a look at this Wisconsin and North Carolina game. This is probably the game I'm most excited for just because both teams are so good. And funny enough, this game will actually be played at the Staples Center tonight in LA. But Wisconsin, they're coming off their defeat of Oregon, winning 72-65 to move into their fourth Sweet 16 in the last 5 years. So they know what they're doing there. Also, they're not sneaking up on anybody. And their team has been in the headlines all year because of Frank Kaminsky, the Big Ten Player of the Year and actually the National Player of the Year candidate. So he's going to have a really good game. He's averaging about 19 points, 8 rebounds, and just about 3 assists a game. So this guy, he's like a Swiss Army knife. He can do everything. He can shoot, pass, rebound. So he's a really good player. He's going to show up. But to take a little bit of the offensive burden off of Kaminsky, I see someone like Sam Decker. He's gonna have to have a pretty good offensive game, just to help Kaminsky out, just so not all of the burden is on him to score and beat a really good team like North Carolina. And North Carolina, they're led by Roy Williams, who is just a legend. He's known everywhere throughout college basketball, so his team will be prepared for this game. And if it is a close matchup, maybe 2 to 3 point game with like last few minutes, last few seconds, I might see North Carolina pulling up the upset purely based on who the coach is. But they're also led by Marcus Page, who's their leading scorer, about 14 points a game. They're also very balanced in scoring because they get so many points in the paint. So they will look for easy buckets. And hopefully for North Carolina's sakes, Kennedy Meeks will play because he's also one of their forwards who scores quite a bit of points in the paint. And if he's not there, someone's going to have to make up for his about 10 points a game. So I'm really interested to see this matchup. But by the end of it, when the clock's at 0 at Staples Center, I see Wisconsin pulling out the victory.
I do too. North Carolina is a great team, but Wisconsin's got it all this year. Yeah. Wisconsin's got it all.
They're stacked over there.
Yeah. Actually, another interesting game, Oklahoma, Michigan State. Michigan State, even though historically they've been pretty good in March Madness, this year they are somewhat of an underdog, especially last game, beating the number 2 seed, Virginia. Man, where did that come from? Everybody's saying, oh yeah, Virginia's good, Virginia has this, Virginia has that, and then they go up and play Michigan State, and then Michigan State's just like, yeah, well, we know how to play in the playoffs. This is how you play, and Michigan State pulled it off. But they're going to be running into a pretty good Oklahoma team led by junior guard Buddy Hield. He's the Big 12 Player of the Year. He led the Sooners with 17 points a game. He also grabbed 5.5 boards.
It's all over the court.
Yeah, as a guard, 5.5 boards a game. That's not too shabby. That's for some teams that their centers only get that many boards. So, but Michigan State also has a senior guard named Travis Trice. Last game in the win over Virginia, he scored 23 points in their 60-50 win. So, I think that's going to be a key component for Michigan State. Getting Travis Trice to really get in the paint. Score those easy buckets, but then also have him make those perimeter shots.
Right.
Oklahoma, being somewhat of a defensive team, they got to make sure that they cover perimeter against Trice. But
spread the floor some.
Yeah, definitely spread the. Michigan State has always been one of those quick offenses. That they like to take it to the basket. But they will take the perimeter shot, take that three. Oklahoma's got to figure out how to slow this team down. Tom Izzo, very experienced, very smart when it comes to this type of atmosphere. So he'll be able to lead his team. I from the beginning I thought Michigan State was going to go pretty far, and honestly, I think they're going to win this game. I think they will outlast Oklahoma. Just like I said against Virginia, they're going to beat Virginia. They're going to beat Oklahoma. They're going to beat whoever they're going to play up until they get to about the Final Four. But they're still going to make it. They're going to make
it from there.
Yeah, anything can happen from there. But honestly, I think Michigan State is going to win this game. I've called it from the beginning. They're going to go pretty far. And Michigan State, I'm going to stick to my word.
Okay.
Definitely. And then the next game I'm going to cover is the Duke-Utah game. This is definitely going to be a huge matchup. Both teams really have a really strong offense and defense. These teams, Duke is number 1 right now, and then Utah's number 5. That is just still a close matchup in this game. And then for the Sweet 16, this is definitely going to be a game to watch. I'm very excited for this game. I definitely have Duke going all the way. They definitely like to push the ball early for Duke, doing a lot of playmaking in the beginning. And I think for Utah, that's something that they're going to have to control. They're definitely going to have to try and set the tempo of this game if they really want to pull it out. But unfortunately, both teams really rely on the three-pointers, but Utah, unfortunately, does not have a lower post status such as Duke. They have guys all around. They can shoot threes, and they can also do the layups and rebounds. Utah, that's just not one of their strengths. However, Utah does have a 7-foot Austrian player, and he is definitely one of those players that can shoot a three and do the rebounds and do the layups. So he's definitely going to be one of the players to watch, and very exciting player to watch. They actually recruited him, I think when he was 18 he got discovered, and then they brought him in, and he's definitely been a playmaker for Utah. So as long as he's good on his game and he has a little backup, they could possibly pull us out, but my money is definitely on Duke. They like to move the ball really quick, and then they also have Winslow. He's definitely one of their biggest guys and definitely one of their power players. As long as he's on a good run and he sets the tempo for Duke, they will be able to pull us off. But in order for Utah to win, then they're definitely going to have to step up their game. But my money's definitely on Duke for this game.
Oh, yeah.
Duke, they're another stack squad, too.
Oh,
Okafor, he's huge defensively, and he does score. He makes easy buckets, too. Duke, they're a very, very good
They're
team.
just such an experienced team that coming all the way to Sweet 16 is no surprise.
Yeah, I'm all for Pac-12 teams going far in the tournament, but sometimes you got to be realistic. And going up against a strong Duke team, I think that's a little bit of a stretch for Utah. They're a very good team, but I don't know if they're ready for this yet.
I know. And then Duke also plays a very zoned defense. So we're going to see how Utah adjusts for that.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for joining us here at Mount SAC Athletic Central. See you next time.